everyone, welcome to Murphy's Law Garage. It's time to make the Whipple S650 a little bit childish in the right way. Now, Jacob is holding a nice big black tube here.
It's one of my favorite pastimes.
Yep. And you might ask for what? And what it's for is, bam, a Foster mod. The Whine Mod. Yeah, so I reached out to Sean Foster at Foster, right? And said, hey, look, I'd really like to make my car, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Even more silly and childish.
Even more silly and childish than it is already. So this is a mod for the bros here. This is the, I'm tired that I can't hear the Whipple on the inside of the car. Though, look, to be fair, I've got a carbon fiber intake. I've got the big open air inboxes. You can kind of hear it, but this is going to be like yelling.
Want Hellcat level supercharger whine.
And
we are not mature over here at all.
Absolutely not. So I watched Lethal's video.
Okay.
And in Lethal's, I sent you that video. And in Lethal's video, Jared was driving the car and Shane was sitting in the passenger seat. Someone was filming in the back seat. And I don't know if the road was wet or Shane was scared of the car. I'm going to hope that the Mustang King wasn't scared of the Whipple Mustang. But he never, like, fully got in it. I don't know if it was a, I don't want to show going fast on video or whatever it was. I mean, we never go beyond the speed limit. You know what I mean?
No, only speed limit.
Right. So you don't get a good sense of how loud it is, except for like this just tiny little snippets during the video where it starts to load the blower up and it screams at him a bit and then he immediately gets out of it. We're going to do better than that. We're going to give you a before and after. In fact, let me show you the before right now. And for giggles, watch Jacob's face for the whole video.
Okay.
And this is someone who's ridden in the car a lot. All right, y'all. So we're going to show you the before sound. I'm just warning you ahead of time that you're not going to hear much except for exhaust and road noise because, well, there isn't much noise to be given. Jacob's going to brace himself. I'm going to lock us in third gear, and we're going to get into it. Whine to be something fucking wild because it's just
so fucking stupid.
It just is. All right, let's go put the Foster Whine Mod on. Jacob, is there anything you want to say about your reaction in that video?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think as many times as I've ridden in it, it never gets old. It's just as stupid, it's just as childish, and literally the only thing I can do is laugh like a maniac the entire time. Like, all I can do.
And this is just going to make it better. The only difference is, unlike Jared at Lethal, we're actually going to send it, and you're going to get to hear it scream as best we can on camera in as many situations as possible. So now that you've heard it make a little bit of blower noise, let me show you how to install this into your car. Heads up here, we're going to do this a little bit differently because, well, I'm difficult like that.
How y'all doing?
And here's the... Get off my car. Here's Noisy, the Whipple S650. And the very first thing we need to do is violate her. If you're a little queasy and don't like cutting on shiny new cars, especially one with a 1-year only paint color, you might want to walk away. In the kit is a razor blade. I've got that in my hand. As well as in the kit, not in the kit, but you're going to need this as a Sharpie. We need to get under the dash and we're going to pull the carpet and the jute back and then mark the firewall for where we need to drill a hole in my very expensive brand new car. All right, here we are under the dash, right? Driver's side, footwell up under the dash. I apologize for the blinking of the flashlight. Can't really change that ISO rate. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull back the carpet. See that right there? And then in here, we have insulation. Now, the jupe, the firewall insulation. We need to pull this retainer off of the firewall. Usually these things will unscrew off the stud. Okay, and once we get it off the stud, looks like it might actually let us see how it's lifting away like that. I'm gonna get my hand behind it and pop this clip out of my way. Boop, from behind. See, I kind of pulled it out from behind. All right, I'm gonna throw that on the floor right there. The next thing we need to do is to cut the jupe so that we can fold it up out of the way. And we're gonna make a horizontal line. You see from the tip of this bracket right here, we're gonna cut it across right here so that we can fold this part up and that part down. Just making sure that mine doesn't have another place to do that. No, so you would cut along here. It kind of looks like, let me look at it the way this is made. I like the idea of cutting it here in a straight place. So regardless, cut here, cut there, fold this way, fold that way. I'm gonna grab the razor blade and let me show you. I guess I can do it in real time. I'm gonna go across the jupe in a straight line all the way to here, all the way through. All right, I've got Jacob all kinds of contorted right now so he can show you light, but basically what we need to do, I've folded the jupe up and down right here so that it's out of the way. And then now we need to kind of draw an imaginary line straight out from here, from the point of this bracket, coming out across. See that? Probably could have been slightly lower right there. Imaginary line. And then, can you see this seam right here in the middle? I'm gonna mark it for you. There's a seam where the metal overlaps. The camera's having a little difficulty seeing it, but you can see it very well in person. You can kind of see it right there. We need to be a 1/4 inch away from that, which is about right here in perspective to it. So 1/4 inch from it off the seam coming off of that bracket. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab a metal punch and I'm gonna hit that with a metal punch so that it's easier to start the bit hole. All right, so here's the arrangement for a punch. I don't have one of those automatic spring-loaded punches, even into some pretty hard steel, and I wanna make sure I've got a good centering. So what I've got here is a nice hardened punch. It's one that I've ruined and I sharpened the tip really well.
A nice hard punch, huh?
It's a nice hard punch with a nice hard tip, and it's nice and sharp so that it makes a good deep mark. I've got a 10 mil long socket on here, a deep socket that supports it well, and some extensions.
For that long.
Yes, deep for the long. And that's going to give me the opportunity to reach in up from under the dash and get a good strike on this thing so there's a good depression in the firewall. The reason we need that is for this guy here. See him? We need a good starting point for this bit to bite without walking around and chewing the firewall up. So let's go back in the car and I'm going to give a good whack with this right in the middle of our point. Good whack with our long stick.
We love a good long hard whack.
Yes. No one saw how much I skipped around whenever I did that. Like a special person, but yep, it's marked well. I've also now got multiple places where I could do it if I wanted to. Okay, so let me grab the bit. The next portion here, I'm going to put a rag right here, a large one, to kind of keep the mess from making it down. I need to grab the bit and I need to grab some Windex. All right, so we have our bit. It's like called a Forster bit, or I forget, it's an F word. Forsner bit, I think. We've got that on here. I've got it chucked up in my Roby, don't pick on my tools. And then we've got some Windex, and I've also got an old rag. The drill is in speed 1. This is here so that we can lubricate that and Jacob while we work. Okay? Your glasses especially clean, there we go. You're using this as a lubricant on the bit. If you spin the bit too fast, if you don't use lubrication on your bit, then you'll burn this bit up, and it's a very nice, expensive bit. So that's what this is for, and it's not oil, so it won't stink or nasty the car up. And then I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna stuff this. Let's head back outside. All right, so you see I've got the towel kind of tucked up under the carpet in the jupe, and it's protecting that as best it can. I'm gonna get this all good and wet, and I'm gonna steal the light so I can see what I'm doing, not Jacob.
And I'm gonna apologize for poor video quality. I'm bent over like a contortionist, and it's not fun.
I'd like to talk about how little of this I can actually see right now. All right, y'all, I am, apparently we got some extra light from the camera here, but I'm on it. I've got it set up where I need to be, and I'm just gonna low speed as I drill through. To get the bit started. There it is, it started. And then I'm gonna run it backwards now that I've kind of set through so that I can settle the Forster bit. Okay, now that I've gone backwards and settled it, I'm gonna go forward now. If it bites, just back it up and settle it again. It's in a weird position right here where you're up against the pedal. So just take your time. Add lots of lube, which is something I need to do again.
Tell you what, from the camera angle, that's a great blue.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to bring you back in a minute after I'm done fussing with this. So I think we're about to break through. I just lubricated it again. Let's go ahead and finish it. Oh, that was it. All right. No drama. It took just a couple of seconds, and now I've got a very hot piece of metal chilling right there that I'm going to give a second to cool down. We're going to move on to the next step. I'm going to clean this up too while I'm laying right here. All right, so the hood is closed, so you can't see any additional light coming through right now, but you can see I've got it through. Actually, Jake, if you look up here, I stuck the bit back in and actually took the jupe out in a perfectly round circle. I want it to take a minute to fish this metal plug out of there before it had a chance to disappear into Never Never Land and make rattles till the end of time. So I've got this guy out. You can see my pretty blue Atlas paint, and now I've got a perfectly round plug of jupe. So now we can move on to the next step. I'm gonna clean this up. Hey Jacob, light my hole up for me.
Wow, okay.
You lighting my hole up for me?
I don't have a stethoscope or anything, but I'm trying.
Well, I'm seeing light coming through wherever the hole is. It looks like it's under the ABS module, maybe. Let's see. Going down, going down. Oh, yep, there it is. That's bright. All right, y'all see where it is? Under the ABS module. Wifey's barbecuing. Anyways, this is the bit where I tell you that I'm complicated and we're gonna do something a little different. Well, in the instructions, per Sean's instructions, the next thing you would do would be to remove the actual intake tube and make your hole in it to put a grommet and then put the fitting that holds the hose that connects these two. But I don't want to put mine into the intake tube. I'm gonna give you two reasons why, and this is personal preference. This intake tube needs to be able to come off easily for pulley changes at the racetrack. Putting that tube on there will make that more difficult, and I don't want to mess with pulling an extra hose or laying the intake up and risking scratching it. Yes, you can not do that, but I don't want to. And one of the reasons why, when you listen to the video from Lethal with Jared, there's a lot of throttle body noise that comes in through the intake, and I want to try to lessen that. I know, and Jacob knows this, that if you stand here in front of the car and rev it, you get all of the supercharger noise out of the snorkels, right? So my idea here is I'm gonna modify this kit a bit, is I'm gonna put the tube on the actual driver's side airbox so that it'll soften the blower noise a little bit, it'll soften the throttle body whistle a little bit, and if I'm going on a road trip and I don't wanna hear the noise, it makes it really easy for me to stuff a rag in the hose or pull the hose off and lay it off to the side with ease and limited issues, whereas if it's on the tube itself, you got to contend with trying to cap it or seal it again after. It seems that in my mind, at least, it would make it more flexible. So, and then this is where I'm going to differ, because in Sean's instructions, you would be setting up the intake side of this and getting it drilled for a grommet, but I need to put the firewall side on so I can stick the tube in and pull it towards the airbox and determine how much of this, if any, I want to cut off of it so that it's not too long, which is why you see some extra parts here, like the extra heat shrink, because if I do choose to shorten it, I'm gonna have to cut off his heat shrink here, put a new fitting on it, and then heat shrink it back. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's go in there. I've got my grease, I've got a grommet. We need to go stick this in the hole. And then we're going to stick this guy
in the hole, huh?
Then we're going to stick this guy in the hole as well.
Wow.
and that'll allow me to mark this hose where I need to cut it and to make it fit to the air box. More than likely I'm going to pull the air box to determine where it needs to go. I've changed my mind about putting the grommet in the firewall because I saw how tight it feels. It'd be really hard to get it back out again on that side. So what I'm going to do is, without the grommet, I'm going to stick the hose in down there so I can see whereabouts I would want to put a hole in the box so that we can hear sound from there. So I'm going to pass this guy under, and like you saw earlier, this sucker is down here, so you're gonna have to work for it. And I'm gonna send that into the firewall. Boom, got it. All right, so after staring at this for a minute, I've got an idea of where I want it. I think I want to put it down here because that'll give me a straight shot under the coolant reservoir into the bottom of the box down there. I could come up here and I could grab it there, or I could get it there, possibly even under the box, but I think that's probably our best shot, and it wouldn't be too hard to reach in there and stuff a rag in it if I wanted it to be quiet for a road trip. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I need to be able to get the air box out. I need to get the intake tube out. So 3 hose clamps and loosen these bolts. I'm going to pull the air box out so I can get to it here. And don't worry, if you want to do something similar and not put a hole in your carbon fiber intake tube, I'm going to give you a measurement on how long to cut this so you can literally just put it together in the car and modify it on the bench without having to do what I'm doing here. All right, everyone, now that I've got the intake tube and the air filter and all of that out of the way, I can better see what I'm working with right here for a flat spot for getting into this box right here. Like I said, I kind of like this area down here. More or less just about as low as it'll go. So I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to mark the box. Don't worry, I'm going to pull the box out and kind of measure for you where I'm putting this mark down there. All right, with the box out, I want to show you that the intent is for that hose. You see that nice straight shot we've got right here is for that hose to end up right here, not where it's pursed up there. Whipple competition air intake box. This is the nose of the car. This is heading off to the blower. If I roll it over on its side here, you can see where this is the bracket that's under the coolant reservoir that I need to miss is right here. And this is about where I eyeballed the level the hose would need to be sitting. The only thing I need to contend with is that this has a radius on it. So I need to be in this area here. So I'm going to mark that too right now. And then I'm going to make a hole where I want it to be. I'm going to give you some measurements. All right, so I've decided where I want to be. You can see here I've kind of marked the area that I need to be in so the surface is relatively flat before it contours. So from the bottom of this ear right here to the level of where that hose is going to be is 3 inches. So go 3 inches below that. And then the next measurement you're going to have is from the center line out. Let me flip that around so Jacob can see it. And that's 1 inch. So 3 inches down from here, 1 inch out from this seam. Now, I guess I didn't show that very well. Can y'all see this seam in the box? From this seam this way is 1 inch. From this ear down is 3 inch, and that's going to locate you here. Now I've got our Forstner bit right here, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that hole in. Give me a second. All right, just making sure everything looks good, and that'll be, we're through already. Oh wow, that resin material, that can take a beating. There it is. Okay. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean up this edge right here, make sure we don't have any stragglers hanging up. And I'm actually going to bring it to the car, no grommet again. I'm gonna bring it to the car and I'm gonna slip the hose into the hole and then sit the box back in the car so that I can mark the hose where I want to cut it and shorten it. Let's go. All right, so Jacob, come in close here. Unfortunately, the hose doesn't fit into the hole. Of course, it wouldn't. Why would it? It's a bigger size. So what I'm gonna do instead is I've got the box in here temporarily, and I'm gonna mark one of these hoses I've got right here with the Sharpie so that I can see where the edge of the box is. And that'll give me an idea. If you look, see right here, this is where the end of that box lies. So I'm going to leave myself a little slack, and I'm going to make a mark and cut this hose. And off camera, I'm going to do a little bit of test fitting to make sure it works right. And then I'll let you know how long to make that hose for whenever you're going to join this together. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stick the grommet in the box in the hole we've got here. I'm going to lube my grommet up real well. Lube the hole up real well.
Let me zoom in on that, do it again, that way the people can see your finger work.
You like that?
It's very nice.
Can you see the skill?
It's very nice.
Okay.
Someone's probably very happy somewhere, potentially your wife.
Maybe. I don't know, we'd have to ask her. Anyways, once we've got that all lubed up, I'm gonna squeeze it a bit, stick it in the hole.
You hear a nice little click when it snaps in.
She kind of schmooshed in there. And then, like I said, for me, your kit is going to come with this guy for connecting the hose. My kit has this guy. And the difference is that I need to go through the body of the intake box straight, which is different for me. I'm guessing Shane, if you're Sean. Shane, if I said Shane, it's Sean, because I suck. Sean.
Let's zoom in on that way we can get verification. Wow. Sean Foster.
What's important here is Foster. That's what's called a Foster Whine Mod. Anyways, Sean, if you're watching, maybe there's an option for people to leave a note if they want to do the air and box style, however you want to do that on the website. But anyways, once that's in there, I can take this guy and slip it through from the inside of the box. Ugh. And it's snug. She's tight. I probably should have put more lube on it, but, you know.
Amateurs.
Let's see. A little more lube on the tip and just the tip to keep it from binding up going through the hole. And then I'm going to stick it in from the inside. Where's the hole? Like that. Like that. Okay. So now that that's through, I have a barb to push this guy onto to capture it. Now I'm going to cut this guy. See how much here is extra based on the difference of where I'm going. I'm sure this at some level hurts Sean's feelings, but we talked about it ahead of time. I told him that this is what I want it to do. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Sean can offer this as like an overall option. Maybe we, like I do for J&L, I can just give you the length of the hose and people can then choose whether or not they want to go to the competition airbox short way. Maybe we can call it the Murphy's Law Garage mod. Is that an option? Anyways.
Find out on the next episode of Murphy's Law Garage.
Now that I've cut that all the way around, somewhat jagged. You know, I have like a proper hose cutter I could have used, but that would be boring. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to take this guy and slip it over like that. Make sure I haven't messed it up. And I'm actually going to slip it onto the box. So let me give you a measurement here of how long the long black hose is. So from, that is very hard to do.
Having trouble handling large hose, huh, Julian?
Yes. Sean, if you're watching, that's 29 1/4 to the end of the barb from the end of my hose. 29 1/4. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and get that on there. We'll bring it right back. In case Sean just sends this as like a do-it-yourself, if you want to do it this way, this type of heat shrink has glue in it, and you need to get it hot enough that the glue actually starts to come out and impregnate. You can kind of see the edge of the glue starting to poke out right there. You need to do that all the way around to ensure you've got a good bite. And this shrink tube he sends, man, it bites pretty good. When the shrink tube is on the hose, it's way harder to fit on the barb, which is why I've gone ahead and stuck it on first. and then tightened it down, because that sucker really, I mean, I could pull that nipple back through here if I wanted to using this hose now, so it bites it pretty good. You're warned. All right, so now I am back under the dash here, try not to get too much goop on it, and I'm gonna get grease on this raw metal edge right here. Two purposes. This is both lubrication and corrosion prevention. If you've got a paint pen, you could even rub some paint pen on here if you want it to ensure that this did not corrode any. I don't think we're going to have any issues with that, so I'm just going to make sure we've got a good layer of grease here, and then a good layer of grease in the grommet. Let me get the grease out of the cabin before I get it on the floor. And then I'm going to stick the grommet into the hole and line it up like that. And then I'm going to get some grease on my finger and I'm going to lubricate the grommet in the hole. And the very next thing we're going to do is shove that hose home through that grommet. And obviously my airbox now has a protuberance. Regardless, what we're going to need to do is kind of fish it through like this. So I'm going to take this guy, knowing where my hose needs to be, because I've been here already, right? I'm going to start fishing this through. In this case, I'm going under these lines. And I'm going to leave you to do this yourself. It's going to be a little hard to show on camera, but for sure, you got to stay away from the header down there because we're sitting really low right now. And I'm going to aim for the underneath of the ABS module right now. Doing multiple things at one time. Let's see, where are we?
You want me to go put the light on?
No, you're good. All right, now I need slack again, so I'm going to take the box. Let me put the snorkel back in like this. It's always easier to put this back together, the airbox anyways, if you put the snorkel in first. So keep that in mind. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm probably going to pull it back a little bit, and that'll let me, pop my hose off. That'll let me start the box. In fact, that's probably best. Let me start the box on the snorkel like that. And then I'm going to push the hose through the firewall, and I'm going to push the hose through the firewall and then back onto our airbox here again here because I just popped it off. And then we'll bring you right back. It literally just stick it through the firewall and we'll show you what to do with the diaphragm. All right, I've got the camera now. You can see fitting through the box. You can see I've got the hose pushed onto the box. It's actually pretty easy to do it once it's through the firewall already. Hose travels through, around, down, and under the ABS module. So it is a very clean, straight shot. So what I would recommend is go ahead and put the stick the your hose, the Whine Mod hose, through the firewall first and leave it. Then push it up out of the way, put the air box in, and then come back here and guide your hose for the Whine Mod onto the nipple for the box. And then you're in there. So now we need to do the diaphragm part of it, but before we even do that, I'm gonna go ahead and put the intake situation back together. Like I said, what's nice about this is if I'm going on a long road trip and I don't want to hear the noise, I can just reach around the air filter here and stuff a rag, a chamois cloth, something in there to stop the transfer of sound, and it won't hurt anything because there's no filter there. Last but not least is the diaphragm cap. So this is basically a membrane. Think like the drum, the head of a drum, the clear head of a drum. Let's see if we can pick this up. Can you hear that? So what this does is prevents air from transiting from the intake tube or from the airbox from the engine bay into the cab and vice versa. You don't want that to happen, especially if you put it like the way Sean has it in his instructions, where you're installing it on the intake tube itself. That is post MAF, though the car doesn't actually use MAF for sensing in the S650. It's just for temperature and humidity. But it will allow air, unfiltered air, to enter from the cabin if you don't. So you must put this, and the membrane here acting like a drum of a head, the head of a drum, allows the sound to come in unhindered. So that's why this is important. I've put a tiny little bit of lube in there, and we're going to go push this onto the barb that's poking through the firewall. Both this connection gets a zip tie under the dash, as well as the one that went to the airbox. So where we connected the tube to the airbox, that also gets a zip tie to help hold it still and make sure it can't pop off. Though the measurement that I gave you for the length of that hose is a 1/4 inch too long in the position that it is, so it's got a really nice, tight, bound up pressure fit on it. We're still going to put the zip tie on it anyway, so let's go do that. All right, Jake, go ahead and put pressure on that hose for me.
Pressure's applied.
All right, I've got Jacob on the other side there putting pressure on this for me. And I've got a tiny little bit of lube in here. And I'm going to push the diaphragm cap onto the hose all the way to the end of the bulkhead fitting. All the way. There it is. You can see the diaphragm cap is now on there. The next thing I'm going to do is put my zip tie on to make sure it can't come off. All right, so the next thing I need to do is to trim the carpet and the jupe to go around the diaphragm section here. You can see here I've preserved where that grommet used to be that holds this, so I'll be able to push this back in and stick it through the carpet. So it's not rocket science here. I'm going to make a slit and carve out a little bit of the jupe here so that it slips down and around the diaphragm here. See, it's just touching on the bottom, so that's all good. So I just need to make like a half moon in it, and then I'll be able to take the carpet, fold it up like this, and then I'm also going to cut a slip into it and put a half moon so that it can come up. I think I'm going to do it from the top side, heck, maybe even from this side, and put a little slip in it so it holds the carpet up. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut in from this side and make an opening in it so that the diaphragm helps hold the carpet up and out of the way. What's important here is nothing can touch the face of this diaphragm or it will not work, because it needs to be able to vibrate with the engine. That's how the sound is transmitted. So make sure you get this all in and out of the way. I just wanted to point out that all I did here was to cut an L. It was the easiest way to deal with this, both in the jupe. So the jupe from the top side, I cut an L this way and then slipped it down and around. It fit perfect. And then in carpet, I cut an L this way and then slipped it behind it. And it's pinned up in there really nice. So, let me back out. Ooh, there we go. Now you can see exactly what we're working with. And well, that's it, guys. Time to go do the fun stuff, which you came here for. All right, so Jake and I are about to get out on the road. I can tell you already that just the amount of throttle body hiss I'm getting right now, it's gonna be loud, even with it moved.
So stupid.
I don't know how well y'all could pick that up on camera.
So stupid.
I just barely rolled into it coming out of the neighborhood, and all you hear is the throttle body hiss and the blower. Don't worry, we're gonna get you some better, like, rowdy footage. Give us a second. It's gonna take like a few days to drive to Mexico. Be right back. All right, so we're gonna give you like kind of like a normal driving situation. I'm just gonna roll into it. That sound.
Oh my God.
It's hard. I hope it comes across well on camera. I moved my mic to where my hand is so that the noise cancellation doesn't try to take it out. But I hope it comes across really well. It's not intrusive. Like, just cruising like this, I could 100% go on a road trip and it wouldn't bother me. The problem is that the throttle body whistle is about as loud as the actual blower. So I think if you put it in the tube and get really close to the throttle body, you get a lot of that whistle like I heard in the video, and that would be annoying solid state on the road. But like right now, like, it's just, you can hear the hiss, like a slight hiss, like kind of like a suction, a vacuum leak. And then when you open the throttle body up, it turns into like a turbo whistle, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, you downshift or you get into it and you get a real meaty supercharger repertoire. I'm continuing to roll right now on purpose because I want you to hear I'm steady at 70. There's nothing. It's fine. There's no sounds. Completely quiet. Again, with just a light throttle input. Whenever you're ready, 10 speed. There we go. Ready?
This doesn't get old.
It doesn't.
No.
Rolling in. Throttle on. That was a quarter throttle roll in for those people paying attention, just so you can get an idea of how much.
I really hope the pops are audible in these videos because of my God.
They sound beautiful, don't they?
This is
Ready, more violence? Come on, Jacob, why is your head moving so much? Is there a problem, Jacob?
you're driving like a Hellcat on it. Fucking whiplash.
Alright, we're gonna stop acting like a fool. We're gonna wrap this video up.
Oh man.
How do I describe it other than it takes something that is just hearing the beautiful sound that is the Coyote and turns it into a cacophony, a symphony of the music of the Whipple and the music of the Coyote screaming out of the tailpipe. It is addicting. It's kind of like having a blow-off valve. I may or may not have got the oil real hot.
I can relate to that, but man, it's just I really don't know how to describe it. It's great. I mean, hearing an American V8 at 8,000 RPM and hearing the Whipple also at 8,000 RPM audibly is comical. I don't know how else to describe it.
And I've heard a Hellcat. It's not the same. There's so much more RPM involved. The Whipple makes so much more of a like a guttural growling whine instead of a pitchy whine like the Hellcats do. It's, man, it is bellissimo. It is awesome. Do I recommend you do it to your Mustang? I think yes. I think if you put it on the airbox instead of the intake like I did, you create yourself a situation where it's not too much, because like I said, that throttle body whistle.
The throttle body whistle is
loud.
pretty audible.
And even with it on the box, it is loud.
It's loud.
So yeah, where I've got it, it is manageable. Like the only time it's whistling is if you're like part throttle or the traction control kicks in or something like that. Other than that, it's all growl whine from the supercharger. It's pretty great. Anyways, thank y'all for watching the video. We hope you liked it. Sean, thank you very much for giving me a chance to ruin your beautiful kit to make it something I wanted it to be. Like I said, maybe we can do a custom Murphy's Law Garage mod version of it where it goes to the competition intake. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. As usual, we love you. God bless. Peace.
JB, it looks like it is now your turn to put the sticker on there. So why don't you go
Okay.
do that for the good people?
All right, ready? I'm gonna do my own I am Sparta. This is Sparta. All right.
Find a spot, hurry.
Bruh! The hell?
That was the most overdramatic thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But you know what? You could do better. Bye, ladies and gentlemen.